From this height, Oliver's Castle, one of the most often debated observations was made early one morning in 1996. A young man spending the night here with his video camera was in the early dawn suddenly aware of something strange unfolding down in the field.
Here I'm standing at Oliver's Castle at precisely the same spot as John Whaley was standing in August 1996, when he supposedly, for the first time in history, managed to film the creation of a crop circle.
That the crop circle was not here the previous day but had appeared the following morning was a fact. That John Whaley was here at dawn could be confirmed by a military patrol jogging by at that time. John returned to the local pub later that same day and played this remarkable footage from his camera. Even so, many believe that he had managed to manipulate the film with computer animation during this short time span, something that computer animation experts doubt. To overlay a perfect animation over a handheld, unstable film would need several days of computer work using the equipment of that time. Today, the film is still a great mystery. Although confessions now have been made by people claiming to be responsible for it as a hoax, others believe the hoax theory is to be organized debunking, due to the fact that this remarkable footage would have dangerous effect on the public if declared real.
This group of people caught UFOs on camera creating crop circles at night. This group of friends heard rumors of farmers seeing lights at night which made them go camp near a big field to see with their own eyes if the stories were true. At midnight, all of a sudden, various spherical lights resembling Chinese lamps appeared out of nowhere, emitting no sound whatsoever while hovering around, emitting a pulsating glow over their surface. The next morning, they went to the crop field to look for evidence and found a big crop circle created by the mysterious glowing spheres. There were even crops twisted together in a very peculiar way. Many people think it was made by UFO fanatics overnight, but just the precision, size, and the way the crops were flattened makes it seem almost impossible to be done at night.
What are aliens trying to tell us about melatonin? I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me here. So out of the thousands of crop circles around the world, there are only two that illustrate chemical compounds, right? There's one that perfectly illustrates niacin. We'll get into that in a different video. In this video, we want to talk about the other one, which there's a crop circle that perfectly, I mean, to a T. We brought in chemists. They looked at this thing and they said, yep, that is melatonin. Why? Why would some advanced intelligence be trying to tell us about melatonin? Isn't that just the thing you take to go to sleep? Kind of. So melatonin does help you go to sleep. It's been clinically proven to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. But it does so much more than that. Besides the millions of anecdotal stories of people saying that it helps them open their third eye, it is secreted by our pineal gland after all, that it helps people connect spiritually, that there is evidence. This guy that locked himself in a room for 7 days and he produced so much DMT, he was tripping off DMT. DMT is the spirit molecule that has been shown to have people transport out of this dimension to somewhere else. So it's a very, very powerful thing that is created endogenously inside of us. So there is evidence that a lot of melatonin can produce DMT, which is pretty amazing. But also that it's this powerful, next to glutathione, is probably the most powerful antioxidant. Some science shows that it is more powerful than glutathione. It is the most powerful antioxidant in the human body, which means that it can heal you. And to back this up, there is quite a bit of evidence that shows that cancer grows much more rapidly during the day than at night. At night, it seems to go sort of dormant. During the day, it seems to spread. This could be due, evidence suggests, more studies need to be done, but evidence suggests that this is because of the higher concentrations of melatonin at night than during the day. So We know that melatonin is a master healer. It heals our body. We know that melatonin can help us have deeper sleep, which leads to more vivid and lucid dreams. It helps us connect more spiritually. It does all these things. And just so happens there is a freaking crop circle that perfectly, I mean, scientists came in and backed this up. They cannot refute it. It is a crop circle illustrating and showing melatonin, the chemical structure of melatonin.
I was contacted by a mysterious inventor by the name of Nikola Romansky, who sent me a very strange email. But when I opened this email, there was a video attached, and the video appeared to be Nikola's attempt using a simple Autodesk CAD program to decode a specific circle that had come down in 2009. But it seemed to harvest blueprints. There was some kind of machine we were staring at all of a sudden. And of course, my next question to Nikola was, what kind of machine do you think this is?
Here you can see the primary device of the reactance coupler with the water sphere at the top and the inner containment chambers for processing down into the klystron, which is the tube here. And then you can see the field which comes off the klystron through the tachymetric converter, which is the green circle at the very center there. In here you can see the sacred mean to establish the geometry, which is something that is a direct correlation with information decoded from the crop circles. Overall, the dynamic is basically a power plant for alternative zero-point energy, and some people might effectively call it also a light-speed engine.
Don't say the words, the machine. He's like, stop doing that.
When you're trying to build a device that is essentially an alternate energy source, potentially, you kind of want to keep it on the down low, just in case it works. People tend to disappear when they do this, when they challenge oil. Talk is over. Time to build whatever the hell this is. Let's get busy.
So here it is.
Have we?
Nothing.
Right.
Is that a plasma flame?
That's a plasma.
Okay. Yes!
Inside a shot glass.
When you see the orange flashes, that's water burning.
Right.
Whatever you've got there, keep it going. It's sweet. Jeez, look at that.
when we saw that little orange spark, there was a real reason to celebrate.
There was someone else at least attempting this. He was based out in Hawaii. After learning that, it was a no-brainer. There was only one thing left to do.
Now look at you guys' device and what you extrapolated from the crop circle. I think you guys were right on track to what is being conveyed by the crop circle. That is that fundamental spin is important, that there is a fundamental spin in the universe, and that when you understand that, you can build devices to
Do you want to know the meaning of crop circles? Yeah? Well, that's good. That's real good. Alright, listen to this. So as you know, crop circles can be found all over the world. But did you know that they are not just random shapes? Every crop circle is created with sacred geometry and mathematics. And every design has a meaning. This one is created in the well-known shape of the Kabbalah, and this one is built perfectly in the ratio of pi, two ancient symbols for human spirituality, the 7 chakras and the symbol for mind, body and spirit. These crop circles are of the magnetic field, and more crop circles of magnetic energies. What you need to understand is the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Every pattern has a meaning. You just got to be able to decode it. They've even got ones that show melatonin, which is a brain hormone which supports sanity and relaxation. There's even crop circles that show the movement of the first and second sun. They've even got crop circles that show the lunar phase and the eclipse cycles. So like I said before, the eyes are useless when the mind is blind.
What do you feel about the crop circles?
It's funny that you instinctively just said that, because that's kind of what I've realized they are. They're cymatics of the earth speaking to us. And what's interesting is there's videos where these little orbs come about, and then you see this design being drawn. And that those orbs, I've learned, are the compression of certain materials stacked on top of each other, which then create the orbs. That's where, like, all those people, when they're like, oh, there's all these ghosts over there. Well, there's actually compressions of certain types of materials which stack together, create a chemical reaction, and then you have this orb. But I believe with the crop circles that it's Mother Earth speaking to us. And when I started to look at all of them, I started to see designs, I started to see like inventions, I started to see actually a lot of things related to atmospheric energy. You know, I started to see alignments, like things like the eclipse and how like significant the eclipse is. And like even here, we had 2 eclipses, you know, in 2 weeks. And if you stared into it, your energy goes through the roof. You know, so all these things that Mother Earth is trying to communicate with us. And like you said, we used to be tapped into this. We used to be able to see these frequencies, or at least tap into that. And we've disconnected and lost that. But the crop circles thing's just as wild, because they even said too that people will meditate in them, their energy will go very high, or they'll notice all these plants, that same thing. The plant growth is like wild. And they noticed, what's the other thing? They noticed like all these different types of rare plants popping up in that same spot. So it's almost like, in my opinion, Mother Earth is trying to communicate us and trying to tell you something, and you need to pay attention. But we don't understand it anymore because we speak with this new language that we have instead of symbols and shapes and understanding fractals or frequency. You know, because everything has a frequency, everything is a fractal, you know, everything is designed into that. And Marcel Vogel did a lot with that. He did a lot with his crystals and talking to plants and creating liquid crystal displays. But crop circles kind of took me to about 1,000 different other rabbit holes that I didn't know I was going to lead to. But it was just remarkable to understand that, you know, this energy is there. It's always present. And, you know, it's for us to tap into. Otherwise, it gets named when pseudoscience and all the Rockefeller terms and everything else.
A new crop circle appeared in Wiltshire, and what did I do? I went to check it out. I'm no expert. It's really hard to tell if it's man-made or it's someone else's work. I mean, I guess it's for you to decide. But there was one thing that really kind of like made me question things. If it was human-made, they would probably use something to flatten it with, and through that they would cause injury, and you could see some places on the plant where it's actually broken. But here, it's a little bit different.
It is really, really interesting because every single one of them that is standing straight is standing straight, right? But these ones, the ones that are laying, they are a little bent. You see? They're a little bent, and there's always like this kind of like a swollen joint, which is absent if we're talking about straight plants. See? Like compare this one to this one. And it immediately bends the plant. Whereas here, you can't see any of this happening among the straight ones. They're all straight and they don't have any bend. All of these, every single one, look, that are on the ground laying, bend, see? Like these bends, see here, everywhere. They're everywhere, here, look at this, bend. All of these bends exist only on the ones that are flat, whereas those, they don't have it, see? Straight. I don't know. Whoa.
And so, the mystery continues.
Amazing crop designs is not a circle, but a rectangle that seems to be a direct response to a message sent out into space in 1974. The message was a radio signal depicting our planet's location in our solar system and Earth's people, in hopes that it might be received and interpreted by an extraterrestrial intelligence. 27 years later, in 2001, this crop design appeared in England, along with what could be a self-portrait of the sender. This message matches the format of the NASA signal and describes a different solar system from ours, a picture of the sender, non-human DNA, and a microwave antenna they apparently used to communicate, rather than the radio antenna that we used. The antenna symbol had appeared a year earlier in exactly the same field, right next to a working radio wave antenna, like the one NASA used to send out the original signal. NASA continues to officially deny extraterrestrial contact of any kind.
Listen to what Freddie Silva has to say about crop circles.
And more interestingly, it's how some 80 people from around the world have witnessed crop circles being made by a descending vortex of light. And I remember one farmer back in 1965 describing what he recalls watching the rain bouncing off this electromagnetic tube. And farmers don't talk like that. And we've also collected hundreds upon hundreds of reports from people who have experienced the very same changes in consciousness often described in ancient temples. And a fair amount of these people were skeptics. Well, perhaps not so much now.
My goodness.
What is this?
So many. There are so many. But what we will do? What we will do?
Who made these?
This free energy device was created off the blueprint of an alien-created crop circle. Now, crop circles are markings by extraterrestrials that typically display free energy devices, coded messages in binary for humanity, the layout of our universe, and much, much more. Now, if you're a skeptic at whether or not these crop circles are real, I'm going to show you something right now. This man is named William Lemongood. He's been studying crop circles for an extremely long time. Now, what he noticed on the real crop circles is the seeds of the stalks would all explode out of the nodes, and the soil underneath the crop circles would become extremely crystallized, which can only happen under immense pressure and heat, which, if done by humans, would have incinerated the whole crop. We do not have the technology to do this. Now, it's good to note that not all crop circles possess these qualities. Some are fakes. Now, where it really gets mind-blowing is that when we decode some of these crop circles, we can see that the extraterrestrials are trying to help humanity by providing blueprints to free energy devices. For example, this crop circle displays magnetic wheel energy, which they put right beside a windmill because it is far more efficient than that technology. And it's also free energy. This crop circle was decoded, and it's known as the most beautiful and precise mathematical equation of all time, Euler's identity. And this crop circle has a message for humanity in binary code that will absolutely blow your mind. They also created this crop circle after the molecular structure of melatonin about 12 hours after the Norway massacre. Crazy.